From Carmelo Anthony scoring 62 points without getting a single assist to James Harden scoring 27 points on just 2 made field goals. Today we're going to go over 10 stat lines that you have to see to believe. Throughout his career, Carmelo Anthony has earned the reputation of being a bit of a ball hog, and this game did not do anything to help that stigma. In a game between the New York Knicks and the Charlotte Bobcats, Carmelo finished the game with a 62-point outburst. This would go on to be his career high, but this is somehow not even the craziest part about this stat line from this game. While Anthony did more than his fair share on the offensive end in terms of scoring, he did not record a single assist in the 39 minutes that he was on the floor. Despite not receiving the ball much from their star teammate, fellow Knicks players did not seem to mind Melo's selfishness. After the game, J.R. Smith was quoted as saying, "I've seen him score a lot of points, but that was some performance right there." Along with this, Anthony said, "Just to see everybody smiling once again, that's what I was more excited to see. Guys on the bench smiling, high-fiving, having fun once again, that's the only thing I care about." What if I told you a player once recorded 2 triple-doubles in the same game? Now, it's no debate that Russell Westbrook is one of the most polarizing players of this generation. He is a guard that can do it all, and he put it on full display in this game. What was arguably the most impressive game ever from Mr. Triple-Double was actually dedicated to somebody else. On March 31st, 2019, rapper Nipsey Hussle tragically passed, and this was something that really stuck with Westbrook, who is also a California native. On April 2nd, in a 119-103 win over the Los Angeles Lakers, Westbrook was seen alone on the bench rapping along to one of Nipsey Hussle's most popular songs, "Grindin' All My Life." After the once-in-a-lifetime performance, Westbrook pounded on his chest yelling, "That's for Nipsey." He would finish the game with 20 points, 20 rebounds, and 21 assists. The only other player to ever do this in NBA history was Wilt Chamberlain. After the game, Westbrook was quoted as saying, "I'm not going to try to put it into words, but like I said on the floor, that's who it's for. I'm going to leave it at that." Our next stat line was one of the most unexpected in league history. Before he became an NBA coach, Scott Skiles spent 10 seasons in the NBA playing for the Milwaukee Bucks, Indiana Pacers, Orlando Magic, Washington Bullets, and the Philadelphia 76ers. Throughout his career, he averaged 11.1 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 6.5 assists. While this is a very respectable stat line over a career of that length, nothing could have prepared the Orlando Magic fans for the show that he was about to put on. In a 155-116 win against the Denver Nuggets, Skiles finished the game with a masterclass on the offensive end. On top of the 22 points he put up, he also dished out 30 assists. This is an NBA record which was previously set at 29 by Kevin Porter. While we have seen some incredible passers since Skiles, we will likely never see another player be able to score 20+ points and dish out 30 assists in the same game. What if I told you guys a player somehow managed to commit 7 fouls in the same game during the shot clock era? As any NBA fan knows, a player is only allowed to commit 6 fouls before they are out for the game. In a hypothetical case, a player could technically commit a 7th foul if their team had no other healthy players and they were forced to stay in the game. But this was not the case for Cal Bowdler, who remained in the game after committing his 6th foul. However, the game between the Atlanta Hawks and Portland Trailblazers was already a blowout, and apparently the scorekeepers were not paying much attention after the Blazers already had the game wrapped up with a 100-73 lead in the 3rd quarter. They allowed Bowdler to stay in the game even after reaching the foul limit, and he would go on to commit a 7th foul. But as a result of the scorekeepers missing his 6th foul, they believed that what was actually his 7th foul was the 6th that made him ineligible to play. In reality, his team should have been assessed with a technical foul. This is likely a stat that will never be repeated again. With so many eyes on each game in terms of fans and scorekeepers, there is very little to no chance that a player's 6th foul would ever go unnoticed in today's NBA. Draymond Green has never been known to be a scorer. However, he took his anti-scoring approach to a new level with this next stat line. Draymond Green has made a potentially Hall of Fame caliber career as a result of being the glue guy on the Golden State Warriors roster. He has never been much of a scorer, but in his prime, he did everything else at an elite level. He put this on full display when he became the first player in NBA history to ever record a triple-double without scoring double-digit points. He finished the game with 4 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, 10 steals, and 5 blocks. For almost any triple-double effort, points are the first thing that a player checks off the list, but Green has an extremely unique game. If he would have been able to score just 6 more points, he would have also had the first quadruple-double since David Robinson in 1994. Up next is yet another example why Dennis Rodman is considered the best rebounder of all time. Despite finishing his career in 23rd on the all-time rebounds list, Dennis Rodman is still a very common name that comes up when discussing the best rebounders in league history. This could very well be a result of Rodman only being 6'7" and every player in front of him on the list being considerably taller. He was a player that knew his role and always stuck to it, and this stat line from 4 games in the 1993 season while he was a member of the San Antonio Spurs certainly shows it. In the first game, Rodman finished the game with 24 rebounds and 0 points. In the second big game from the season, he pulled in 24 rebounds without scoring again. Later on in the season, he pulled in 28 rebounds and 0 points. And in the final game of this caliber in the 93-94 season, Rodman pulled in 20 rebounds again without scoring. In NBA history, there has only been 12 times that a player has finished a game with 20 plus rebounds and did not score. It was absolutely insane that Rodman makes up 33% of this list in only a 2-month span. Outside of this ridiculous run, Rodman also pulled off this feat 2 more times in the 93-94 season. Our next entry is a player that managed to break the rules of time with this final stat line. Rasual Butler had a solid 12-year career in the NBA, but this game may be the lowest point in his entire 12 seasons. In an extremely close 93-92 game against the Los Angeles Lakers, the Toronto Raptors subbed in Butler to inbound the ball for a potentially game-winning shot. However, the Lakers played incredible defense on the inbound and there was nobody open. As a result of this, Butler was forced to take a 5-second violation. He would finish the game with 1 turnover in 0 minutes played because of this. This is another stat line that likely will never be replicated ever again. What if I told you guys that a player managed to score 27 points after making only 2 field goals? In his prime, James Harden had the referees wrapped around his finger. This stat line fully exemplifies this. In a game in which the Houston Rockets took on the Memphis Grizzlies, Harden had an extremely rough night shooting from the field, but he would end up finishing the game with a very respectable 27 points. He shot 22.2% from the field and only made 2 shots, but as a result of him making 22 of his 25 free throw attempts, he still finished the game as Houston's leading scorer, and the Rockets would end up winning the game by a final score of 100-92. While Harden put up a 27-point performance with only 2 shots made, another player had an even more ridiculous scoring night, going about it the same way. Although Corey Maggette did not score as many points as James Harden's 27, he had the ridiculous stat line of scoring 17 points while not making a single shot from the field. In only 10 minutes, Maggette was able to finish the game with 20 free throws attempted. Along with this, he missed both of the 2 shots that he took from the field. Despite this, he still finished the contest with a more than respectable 17 points. Maggette is known for being a player that would put his head down, drive to the rim, and hunt for fouls, and this was a method that worked like a charm in this contest against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Despite this extremely efficient performance from Maggette, his Milwaukee Bucks would still lose by a final score of 119-118 in overtime. The final stat line today was one of the most out-of-character performances from one of the best guards of this generation. Despite Damian Lillard being one of the best scoring point guards in this generation, he greatly struggled on the offensive end in a matchup against the Los Angeles Clippers. In this game, Lillard shot an abysmal 1 for 13 from the field, but he did what he could to still contribute. He would close out the game with an out-of-character 5 points, but an even more out-of-character 18 rebounds. Now, if you guys were surprised by any of these stat lines, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video and subscribe to the channel for more NBA content.